considering that was all alone last week.
5 PlayStation PSGL champion of season 33. So congratulations to him on the achievement. He's done so with
A long run of wins. I think it was 3 in a row at one point. It was insane to see. I think it was 4 in 5 races as well, and he totally deserves this championship. And now it's just fighting for pride now, it looks like, for the other drivers. A nice race win or two will be under their belts. Would be good bragging rights about their track that they won it. So, yes, we are built somehow. But that'll be quite a while away, so we're stuck with this track for a while. It's rumoured that it will be the host of the first round of the 2024 Formula 1 World Championship because Bahrain renovations. So here we are, the 6.2 kilometre circuit, 25 laps to be done, but first it's 18 minutes of qualifying for these 16 worthy challengers of the race. As you see, we've got Adam, Edric, Sieb, Kuman, Giovanno, Lakitu, El Piloter back from, actually was he suspended last time? I'm sure he's back now though, because he was suspended. Yeah, Chris Halla, of course, our new champion, Miguel, Cherno, Leon, Joey, back again, Kyle Starrett, Alex G, Boyle Lulu, and the return of Yanetsky. No Skyline here tonight, which means the title is said and done for the drivers anyway. How is it looking in the constructors, Tom?
Well, the constructors battle is actually a lot closer. 23 points is the gap between McLaren in the lead and Red Bull in second place. So McLaren are very much firm favourites to clinch it. Now, given that Red Bull are running one of the reserve drivers in their cars for tonight, it makes it increasingly difficult for them to catch up with McLaren. So McLaren are very much in the box seat. The maximum you can score in a single round in the PSGL for 2 drivers within a team. So you get 16 points for a win, 12 for second, 1 for the fastest out, so that's 29 points. So you have to say McLaren could clinch it here in Jeddah if they can get a good haul of points. That would wrap it up with a round to spare. Realistically, it's very much theirs to lose.
Indeed it is, Tom. So, drivers getting out to do their first laps. I believe it's, no surprise again, it's Kyle Starrett. He usually goes out early, don't they, the AlphaTauri boys? Here he is again, about to come around this massive, long left-hander. Well, it feels like one. A double left-hander kink towards the final hairpin of the track, where infamously Max Verstappen crashed out on his flyer, missed out on pole position, and ultimately missed out on the controversial win in a controversial race. Here we go, Kyle Starrett making his long way down to turn 1 and 2, a left-right chicane, very tight as well. It doesn't feel like a chicane, it feels like the double hairpin of Spa, but less intensity. And now the sweepy, weepy section, we all call it, it is turn 4 through to turn 12. Yes, these are all 9 separate corners. Don't ask why, ask the designers of this track. Really easy to make a mistake there at turn 8 and go wide and lose your lap, and at turn 12 as well. It looks like he's A-OK for the meantime. Turn 13 is a long left-hander, and I say that with good emphasis, I just apologise, but then it is a couple of medium... Sorry about that, I just had to get out of the way. The struggles of having a cat. But then it's 18, 19, 20, 21, all flat out after the 14th through 17th turns. And then I believe this corner has been modified. Turns 22 and 23 before 24. And then a DRS open here just before 25. Then turn 26 flat out before the final hairpin, turn 27. Yes, 27 turns, a record for the Formula 1 calendar and, of course, PSGL. Coming to the line to set the benchmark, it's a 128, sorry, 084. Gosh, why do we have a cat, Tom?
It can be a pain, but they're lovely little things anyway. But away from cats and more about cars, Sieb has gone to P2 behind Kyle in second place. Giovanno, one of the 2 reserve drivers, popping up to the top. Only 3 drivers have set a lap time so far, but Giovanno, who is substituting for Skyline tonight in the Red Bull, he's very much setting the pace. A very quick driver. I think we've seen from him before in the PSGL in the past. I'm just looking to see where exactly he has done so. Giovanni, if I could find his name on the Championship standings. I can't quite find it at the moment, but I know from what I've seen from him in other leagues, there's a very quick man, definitely for this tier. Hopefully we'll see more of him in season 34 when the F123 cycle is underway. Miguel goes to third place in the Alfa Romeo, 128.1 for him. Alex is fourth with a 128.2. Elplade's fifth on a 128.2, half a tenth adrift of the second Red Bull. Then it's Sieb and Yanetsky in P7 with 128.3. Chris Hallett, the new champion of F5 in the PlayStation category, is on a flying lap at the moment. He's just going through sector 2. 1 minute 0.1 is what he's posted by the stage. We don't quite have the telemetry and analysis system that some leagues may use, but we just have to make do with what we have, what is currently on the screen. It would be great if we have it, but because we've got so many leagues within the PSGL doing it at the same time, it does make it more difficult to run the telemetry and analysis system as accurate as possible. Chris goes to the top though with 127.2, and I think at this stage of the session, that is quite a banger.
Quite a banger indeed. He is showing why he is the new champion with, as he said, a banger. More than half a second ahead of Giovanni. That's going to take some beating, I'd have to say. I'm on board with both, well, Joey's went into the pits, so I was about to talk to him. And then One Boy Lulu about to make his way towards the final turn in the Aston Martin, which is somehow second place in the real life Constructors' Championships, thanks to a certain Fernando. Before he comes around the final turn, doesn't do a max out the final corner, thank goodness. You can see he'll be maxed out as he crossed the line, goes third, 128.058.
Not very bad, and Boyer up the timing pages, doing very, very well indeed. Leon is on an invalidated lap. Cherno is on an unrepresentative lap as we speak. He's just going through.
Edrix is on a lap.
Yeah, so Edrix is on a lap. He's coming around the last corner now, turn 27. 6.1 kilometers anti-clockwise. Only Spa has a longer lap distance than Jeddah. Edrix is going over the line now, 1 minute 28.1, and that's good enough to put him in P6. We've still got 5 drivers out of the 16 still yet to post a lap time. Chedo's just gone back into the pit lane. We've got drivers who will be going back into the pits very shortly to go for their second runs. So Hallett is on top by over half a second and looking comfortable at the moment, but there's still a long way to go yet.
Indeed, long way to go yet, but of course we have, of course, 5 drivers still to set a lap. I do believe no one is setting a lap now. Nope. As I try to tell how many times how much time is left. I can't see what's going on because the yellow flags are so annoying. Because they're just doing slow laps. That's all. But it doesn't look like anyone's on a lap. Can we stop with the... Sorry, Tom, this is ridiculous. The yellow flags just keep coming out. For the future, Codemasters, I don't mean to have a pop at you, considering this is our game, but please, just move the yellow flag signal somewhere else so we can still see the time that is left on a session. I'm sure with the new graphics, that will be possible next time.
Yeah, I would think so too, but the reason... maybe if you had, like, the timing alongside the yellow flag is, let's say, like in the same typography, but on maybe under a different colour, so that it's very much in line with the yellow flags. But the reason why we've got the yellow flags is because we've had drivers crawling back to the pits because they've run out of fuel. So if you look at Edrix's dashboard, his fuel gauge is very much empty, so he'll be in need of some surgery in a minute, or at least a recharge of the battery, or
TLC,
or TLC, however you want to put it. But Sieb is
ladders and chairs.
Indeed. Giovanni is on a lap. How is he getting on? He's just starting a lap now, actually, so we'll stay with him for the time being. Second fastest on a 127.8. Can he reduce the deficit between himself and the newly crowned champion Chris Hallett? Giovanni not going for points. He is very much playing for pride at the moment, hopefully preparing himself for F123 should he consider a full-time race seat. Oh, that looked very wide, didn't it? I'm actually surprised that lap wasn't invalidated there. Yeah, if that was in real life Formula 1, that would have easily have been invalidated. But he's carrying on for now. A 10th up from before by sector 1 as he goes through the hairpin of turn 13, where Lance Stroll pulled a brilliant overtake around the outside of Carlos Sainz on the opening lap of this year's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Giovanni not exactly thinking about it at the moment. He's very much thinking about putting together a strong lap as he goes through the kinks of turns 18, 19, 20 and 21, and he'll be thinking very carefully how he positioned himself for 22 and 23 that follows. I didn't quite see what the margin was through sector 2, just having a look back on the stream, but I can imagine he's still up from before. Yep, he's a couple of tenths up from before by this stage of the lap. He won't go fastest, but he'll definitely get himself closer to Chris Hellett and further away from the rest of the field. Now, what is this lap time going to be for Giovanni as he comes round the last corner and on the pit straight? It's a 1:27.3, so he was able to find time in that last sector. He's a tenth away from the man who's currently sitting on pole.
Oh, and we've got a spinner, Alex de G out of turn 12. Thankfully, he hasn't ruined anyone else's lap. Oh, sorry, it's not turn 12. It is turn 12.
Yeah.
I do apologise. And someone else has spun. I think that was El Piloto. Yes, it's El Piloto who spun. And he's ghosted, thankfully, so he won't bother anyone's lap. Oh, everyone's spinning, and Janetsky has crashed. Janetsky has crashed out of turn 24, and he will be starting no higher than 10th. Unfortunate end for Janetsky. It's quite a slippy track by the looks of it. We've seen 3 spins in a matter of 3 seconds. Quite an unusual. I'm just speechless. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on, and Yetsuke pushing too hard. At least he's got time on the board. Likito is on a lap as well. Miguel is going over the line, goes up to 5th place, just behind his teammate Coleman, who is in good need of a result here tonight. Now, whilst 1st and 2nd place may be sewn up in the Drivers' Championship, there's still a lot to play for in the race for 3rd place, because Yannick, who is not here tonight, has opened the opportunity up for those further behind him, particularly Demangle or Siab, who's just referred to back to his previous username, albeit under the IRT League username with his former username. He is one of those in contention to finish 3rd in the championship, should everything fall into place for him here. He needs a good result. He's looking to pick up his first win since he won the Singapore Grand Prix round 2, but he's not had a lot of luck go his way this season, if I'm honest.
No, he hasn't at all. As I should mention, Asmus went P3 with a 1:27.607, Coolman 1:27.815, and Chernal 1:28.004. Miguel as well a 28.036. I should be on board with no Joey's invalidated. I was about to go on with him, but he's not been able to set a time yet. Only one of 2 drivers other than Leon who not set a time. Boyalulu about to set a lap. Edrix is coming through the final sector on a fast one, and I think he's faster than last time if I checked. Coming towards the final corner as he cuts through number 26 for the pretty make-or-break turn, I'd have to say, pretty much, as we've seen it in real life and in the game, as he comes across the line. What's it going to be? It's 1:27.719. He goes 4th.
It's a good lap time that from Edrix, put himself up there in 4th position as Leon is coming round. He's been in good form recently. He picked up a podium finish in Mexico City. Last week in Hungary, he didn't actually compete in Hungary, so he was out of that one. But he goes up to 5th place here so far in qualifying here in Jeddah, with 5 minutes still to go. We've got Joey, who's on I think he's just preparing himself for a lap. And just looking at his battery, actually, I'm not sure he's going to have enough battery in there to do a representative lap time. But he's coming back into the pits, so he'll have one more opportunity to have a go. Likito coming back into the pit lane. Boyalulu, he's hit the wall as Boyalulu, but he's luckily the car is not terminally damaged, but he'll need to come back into the pit lane because he lost a lot of quite a bit of his front wing on the exit of that particular complex. So, who is your money on for pole? Is it Chris Hellett to lose at the moment?
Or to beat for the meantime, but of course there could be a late twist in the final few minutes of this session. Got most of the drivers in the pits. We've just got Edrix and Leon about to come back in. Edrix on no fuel, and Leon is just cutting corners so he can get to the pits in time. A bit naughty. But yeah, stay tuned for the final round of this session.
We've got one more run of laps to come in now as Leon tries to make his way back into the pits as quickly as he can so that he's got enough time to get round to the checkered flag. What he doesn't want to do is get in the way of drivers who are starting laps, because otherwise he'll lose time and he may be able to get round to the checkered flag in time to get a proper lap in. But we've got the Aston Martin heading back out on circuit now. I think that's Joey, who's just come back out, is yet to get a time on the board. Now, Joey this season, he has yet to pick up a point. He has not had a good season at all. He's done 6 races this season. He's failed to finish in 5 of them, which is pretty shocking, if I'm honest with you, particularly by his standards. It is F5 after all, and the fact that he's not been putting points on the board tells you everything you need to know about him.
Alright, so here we go, 3 minutes to go, and Joey is the first driver out on a lap. Everyone else just waiting to get out in the pit lane. Hopefully not all in tandem. Actually, I do believe El Piloto and Chris Hallett is out, Coleman is out, El Piloto is out. I think Alex the G is coming out as well. Yep, they're all coming out now, but hopefully they're much more spread out, because the last thing we want is a massive bottleneck of cars coming through just about to start, like Monza 2019. Of course, that would be a disaster waiting to happen. So all the cars coming out now. This is the final round of qualifying. Every driver trying to look for the extra oomph they've missed out on and achieve pole position, try and snatch it away from Chris Hallett. Looks somewhat ominous, but you never know what can happen in this sport. So Joey will kick things off. He's about to start his lap, but he's got to be careful of cars following the gentleman's agreement, as it's called in the sport, just letting other cars by that are going faster. So hopefully they abide to that. I think they should do. They know that they're going to go full speed ahead, considering how much time is left. I don't... well, Janecki can't leave the pits because he's the only Haas there. So everyone is looking on par to finish their out lap and start a lap. So Joey coming around, and hopefully he doesn't make a mistake around these corners. It's usually commonplace for them to mess up a turn 8, but he hasn't. He keeps it under control, maybe a little slower than I liked through the corners, but he's okay. Cutting some of the curves there, and I'd probably do that too as he makes his way around. As you may notice here at Jeddah, the curbs are on the inside the track limits, not usually outside, but inside. I'm not quite sure why, maybe because there is no room, considering that there are barriers right next to it. But here we go. All the other drivers about to start their lap, Tom.
Yeah, and they're all starting it now. We can see the 2 McLarens are in sector 1 at the moment, but I want to stay with Joey because he's the first driver to have exited the pits. To do his he spun it. He spun it at turn 22. Yeah, he took too much curb, and that is his qualifying session done. Unless he can, he's damaged the front wing.
Crossed the line.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, but he still has to cross the line. I mean, it wouldn't matter at this point, but oh, Azam's crashed.
Yeah,
that is not going to be anything better than third for that particular driver. Yeah, he's crashed at what looks like turn 6 or turn 7. Turn 7, and that's it. No better than third for Azam, as 14 seconds remain in the session, and Joey, well, he's not, well, he might as well come in. He's the only driver not to set a lap. It's not going to affect anything, and he's not going to beat 1:28.881 of Black E2. Definitely not. Chris Hallett's about to cross the line. No, time's up.
Checker flag out, and Hallett is about to come round. He's looking to improve on his 1:27.2, and if he's going to do that in style here, he improves it by a 10th, and that is a brilliant, brilliant lap time. El Piloto is coming round as well in the McLaren. What is he doing at the moment? He's heading over the line now. He goes up to 9th position, but want to see Giovanni because he's coming round, and he's cut the deficit. He lost time in the last sector, so Giovanni will start 2nd place on the grid, and Edrix has had a crash as well. Yeah, Edrix has crashed behind, so he's not going to improve. Luckily, the car is ghosted. Leon's just gone past him. Cherno is coming around the last corner now. There's an Alfa Romeo ahead of him that's coming across the line. That will be Miguel, who goes up to 8th place, displacing Cherno, but Cherno goes up to 4th position, and Siab takes 3rd. Nice up there from Siab. Up there onto the 2nd row of the grid. Leon goes up to the front row, displacing Giovanni by 1,000th of a second. Oof. And Lakitu is coming round to hopefully improve his lap time and position. He only manages 15th. So that is the end of qualifying. So that is pole position number 4 for the campaign for, or 5 I should say. That's the 5th pole position in a row for Chris Hallett. Excellent stuff from him. So just waiting for the...
Indeed, he just seems... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so...
It just seems unstoppable at this moment.
Chris Hallett on pole position then, ahead of Leon. Then it's Lakitu and Joey make up the grid. Time for a courtesy mention of PSGL's title sponsor, GT Omega. You can use PSGL at the checkout to get 5% off on any of GT Omega products, including gaming chairs, in case you fancy a gaming chair or a pair of racing gloves or whatever it might be.
Yeah, brilliant products. It saves me going to a certain Swedish shop in which has branches in Edinburgh and Glasgow, which I cannot mention the name of. I'd rather just go to GT Omega. So just remember to get that discount code on PSGL, and you will be pretty much making dollar. Well, saving it, but it's like making it. But you're just going to save a lot of money with them, and I highly, highly recommend them. But I really need to get one in all honesty. Anyway, here we go. We are about to get set for the race here in Jeddah. No rain, of course, because, look, we're literally in the desert. Literally in the desert here in Saudi Arabia, the coast of Jeddah, the west coast of Saudi Arabia. Of course, I believe it was home to the first ever WWE event in Saudi Arabia, the greatest Royal Rumble. Unusual event. It was one... I can't remember who won it, actually. I know Titus O'Neil went under the ring somehow. But anyway, enough talk about wrestling. We're just waiting for the drivers to set up. Remember, no formation lap due to certain irregularities we can't mention. 30 seconds means we have setups ready at the waiting. So here we go. Tom, it's going to be some race. Hopefully everyone keeps it clean.
Yep, it is the penultimate round. Brazil Interlagos will be the stage for the last round of the season, and of course on the F122 game cycle on the PSGL. But we want to focus on what's happening here tonight in Jeddah. Who's going to come away with the victory? Can Chris Hallett take a 6th race win of the season, or will someone else stand on the top step? The 5 red lights are on. Who will lead into turn 1 first in Jeddah? It's lights out, and away we go. Hallett seems to have gone off very well indeed. We're looking at the Alpine of Siab coming through, but Giovanni right round the outside. He's got through to second place, and Siab has spun. So Siab from the second row of the grid has spun and has dropped to last position. Hallett leads then, how did Giovanni? And it's Leon. Azim, who's up there in 4th position. It's Edrix and Alex, who is tussling with Coleman, who seems to have gone off the circuit to gain the place. He's given the place back, though. So Coleman is in 7th place, but needs to watch over El Pilots, who's coming alongside through the sequence of bends. This could get very, very tricky for the drivers, but it seems to have got through fine. But apart from Siab's spin, it seems to be a clean start, Logan.
It does, but Coleman might be under the watchful eye of the steward. He cut a couple of the corners, trying to get back past Epilota and keeping Boyerlulu at bay. He remains in 8th place as we speak as they come through the long few turns of this back stretch here at Jeddah. As looks like Epilota cut this curb there, which is, I think it's alright. Yeah, sorry, it is an inside curb, so... You'll probably not get a penalty for that, but they're making their way towards turn number 24. It is Chris Hallett that leads by 7 attempts, which seems like an eternity in lap 1. Giovanni in 2nd, Leon in 3rd, Siab all the way down, 13 places down already, Azim in 4th. As it looks like that there is quite the battle between Kyle Sarah and Janetsky and Cherno as well for the last points paying position, and Cherno makes a mistake. That's going to let Kyle Sarah try and capitalise, but it doesn't look like he's got enough chances. Nope, it looks like Cherno has stayed ahead. Miguel getting past Joey, and so is Siab as well. This just gets even worse for Joey.
Yeah, it's Cherno running in 10th place, and Joey not having a good race so far again. He's just behind Seb in 16th and last place. So you can see there on the caption on the top, on the left-hand corner of your screen, El Players has made up 5 positions. Seb, the biggest loser of them all, he's down 11 positions from his starting spot. In terms of the tyres as well for the drivers, the only driver starting on the mediums is Lakitu. All the others are very much on hards. And I will mention that Azim has picked up a time penalty of 3 seconds. And I don't think... Yeah, already. And we're only on lap 2.
Lap 2, that... At this rate, he'll accumulate 75 seconds of penalties. Imagine that. There's be no point classifying it. I think he actually gets disqualified in the game.
There's a spin, and that's Leon.
Leon spun!
Yeah,
Leon has spun.
from third place. Leon has spun and he clipped. I wonder if he clipped the rear wing against the wall. If he has, that could spell bad news for his future in this race. And I just hope he's able to keep going from there. So we've had Sia drop down to the back from the front, and Leon has done the same.
No DRS for 2 laps. Next lap will be when DRS is activated. This means it's not going to be easy for Janecki to try and gain on Kyle Starrett until the very next lap. Neither will Kuhlmann, as he's right behind El Piloto, a quarter of a second behind. It becomes 4 tenths as Giovanni and Chris Hallett trade fastest laps as he crossed the line for the second time tonight. Coming to the first corner, as you see, DRS enabled from the, what looks like, well, was the incorrect DRS zone back in I believe turn 12. Oh, Azam's out!
Yeah.
Azam is out. He's had a massive crash, Tom.
Yeah,
Safety car.
If it's a VSC to begin with, because we haven't seen the yellow dots on the screen yet, but I'd imagine that's going to be upgraded to a full safety car. So Azam, after picking up that time penalty on the first lap, is out of the race after only 2 laps here in Jeddah. It's a VSC, so it's not a full safety car. So I think that's probably the right decision, actually, because all the field is together. So we shouldn't need to spend a couple of laps behind a safety car. And had it been a full safety car, that might have inflicted some pit lane activity even at this stage of the race, because you can pit any time you like, and also this track doesn't take its toll on tyres as much as most of the other circuits. The race is back on then, and Hallett has reacted rather well, it has to be said, because he knows that Giovanni is all over the back of him and has DRS.
Yes, he does. 4 tenths he has, and I should also mention El Piloto and Kuhlmann also battling for what looks like 5th place, coming towards turn 23, and it looks like turn 22 actually, I think I should check. And El Piloto has great speed alongside Kuhlmann, but he also has DRS, does Kuhlmann, and I don't think El Piloto is going to get the move done just yet. Maybe the next one. And in addition, the first place battle is on as we're about to begin lap number 4. Giovanni, proving it, he is a pretty talented rookie, is about to try and make a move. He's going to go on the inside at Chris Hallett, but he can't get it done. And Chris Hallett, looks like he cut the curb there, but he is still in the lead. In addition, we have Edrex battling Alex de G for 3rd place. The Red Bulls 2nd and 3rd at the moment. The McLaren of Chris Hallett still in front, but that was a close call for Chris Hallett's leadership.
Yeah, and Hallett did very well to keep hold of the position. We're watching Alex make a move on Edrix on the pit straight as Giovanni runs wide at turn 12 and loses some crucial ground, but he's still within DRS range to get back within range to have a go to pull off an overtake. Edrix is in 4th place with Kuhlmann ahead of El Piloto. It's Boyolulu, Cherno, Coyle and Janecki rounding out the top 10 so far. And we're just seeing the leaders go through turns 16 and 17. There's a spin at the back.
Oh, Miguel spun.
Yeah, Miguel has spun. I don't know if he's clipped the wall, but he's had a spin on the exit of the fast left-hander of turn 13, and that's left himself with a lot to do from here on in. As Hallett goes through turns 22 and 23 and 24, and then through the kinks of 25 and 26, we can see from the helicam of Hallett coming through. That's a very nice angle, actually, it has to be said. That's probably one of the benefits of Saudi Arabia. You have a helicopter view going across the water. I think it's the... I'm trying to remember what sea it actually is. Do you remember what sea it is that the Jeddah Corniche circuit is located at? I'll leave it for that for you to have a look at whilst the action's going on. Giovanni not able to have a go yet as he's too far back. Alex in 3rd, holding firm ahead of the Ferrari of Edrix.
The Red Sea, Tom. That's what it is. The Red Sea is what Jeddah's on the coast of. And hopefully none of these cars end up dead near the Red Sea. Except for you, Azam. Sorry, Azam, you're out of the race, of course. Save trying to make his way back up the order after a spin in the first corner of the race is Joey RC ahead, but he's starting to coast through these first few corners here. Turns 3 through 12, and Joey goes wide. He's going to get a warning for that, perhaps. He is 1 second behind Lakitu, who's charging up the order with medium tyres. Hey, that means he can pit much earlier, and hopefully it will work out for him, because I think he can push more, and then push more on the in-lap, and he could gain some valuable time as he goes up the order. But now Chris Hallett has extended his lead to 1.6 seconds. He is just throwing down his dominance on the track tonight. It doesn't seem like he'd be caught. And by the way, Alex is behind Giovanna by about 2 seconds.
Tell you, there was a battle going on between Leon and Siev. They had a nice tussle actually as they were coming out of turn 13, albeit down in 13th and 14th positions. Chris Hallett coming round to complete lap 5, 20 laps to go in this race, and a new fastest lap posted by the race leader, pole sitter, and the new champion of PlayStation F5 in the PSGL. Giovanni in second position, Alex third, then it's Edrix still holding fourth ahead of Coleman. El Plater having a decent race of it, and it's Boyalulu who's kept his car clean throughout in P7. Then we've got Cherno, Kyle and Yanetsky making up the top 10 point scorers, but there's a long way to go yet. It could take one mistake to change the whole picture of this race.
And that's why we always say anything can happen in this lovely sport we call Formula One. As the lead now extends beyond 2 seconds for Chris Hallett, it's quite tough to see if there are any battles going on. I think there's quite a good one going on for 8th involving Cherno, Kyle and Yanetsky, but Cherno has the advantage of having some DRS thanks to Boyalulu being only 3/4 of a second ahead. Yanetsky starting to gain on Kyle Sarrett though, and Kyle Sarrett's starting to go on the inside so he can try and break the toe from Yanetsky, make it more difficult for him to pass as he comes closer to Kyle Sarrett going towards turn 22. But looks like Cherno is going to hold on to 8th place for the meantime as the two drivers behind him try to gain, and look at that view. It doesn't get better than that. The view I'm having of that helicopter is just gorgeous. It's mwah. It is just probably one of the perks of being in this country racing. I know there has been a bit of controversy over it, but we won't go into details. Just enjoy the race, of course. That's what we come here for, after all.
Yeah. Whilst Cherno, Kyle and Yanetsky are battling at the moment, I'm just going to say it's difficult for them to be overtaken at the moment. I think there's a couple of DRS trains going on at the moment because Alex is leading one ahead of Edrix, Coleman and Nel Peloto, and Boyalulu is heading another DRS train ahead of Cherno. Oh, and that's Coleman going off track. He's just lost the position to El Peloto. He's got up into 5th place, has the McLaren, so Coleman is down to 6th. And we've got another spin at the back. That is Miguel.
Spun.
Yeah, front wing damaged, so I'd imagine that'll be him into the pits at the end of this lap, and it could be a retirement for him unless we get a safety car.
Indeed, of course, the safety car can change your race for the better or the worse, as we have seen in many scenarios in IRL and in this universe we call PSGL. But it has been always been a game changer, and I know it's not the game changer everyone wants. I know a certain few people that absolutely despise the safety car, but it is there to serve its purpose, keep the drivers safe from harm. As we see, looks like the battle for 8th again. Cherno, Kyle and Yanetsky trying to stay close to each other. Remember, keep your enemies close in this game, because if you want to try and make a move later on in the race. They seem to be in a very orderly fashion, unless your name is Chris Hallett, who is just already into the first corner, and Giovanni hasn't even reached the braking zone. As the action continues here, we're just through 7 laps here of 25. 18 laps to go.
Yep, Chris Hallett. Just trying to work out how many wins he's had in the PSGL. So I'm looking through the sheets at the moment. He is
too many.
Too many this season. 9 times a race winner this season in the PSGL, I believe, if my maths are correct. If he wins today, that will make it 10. So can he go for a 10th PSGL victory of his career within this league? He's already won a number of them in the past, and just looking at the previous record in Jeddah, having said that we haven't raced many times in Jeddah, it is a new circuit, relatively new circuit for Formula 1 these days. Leon has won here before, as has Chris Hallett. He's won in F8 in season 31, and El Peloto won in F8 in season 30, and also Nicholas Boydster, who's not racing here tonight, he's also won in Jeddah. So we've got a few previous race winners in Jeddah in the PSGL, which is great to see on this grid. Can Chris Hallett go for a second victory round the streets of Saudi Arabia?
Well, let's see, because we are just about to come through the final corner once again. Chris Hallett just looks like he's leading by an absolute eternity at the moment. Devano, 3/4 second clear on his teammate as we speak. I don't really see many like big battles happening. It just looks like one big DRS train. But what we do have, Joey and Sieb chasing after Leon and each other as well. Sieb just going for a move on the inside. He'll get the outside into turn number 2, but no can do. Joey remains in 13th for the meantime, as he still tries to look for a move, does Sieb. Joey loses a little time to Leon thanks to that battle with Sieb, but it remains 13th and 14th respectively, as Edrix is closing up to Alex, Tom.
And Edrix is closing up behind. Alex won't have the... He is within range to open the DRS, making it increasingly difficult for Edrix to pull off an overtake. Doesn't mean it's impossible though. And for the sake of those who may be asking, can you put the ERS telemetry system? We'll put it up for about 30 seconds or so everyone knows how much ERS each of the drivers have got left in store before they need to come in for a pit stop. Well, Giovanno and Alex are on similar levels. Edrix has got a little bit more left in there. L-Plays is on the same as he is, and Coleman has already used up 80% of his ERS and is in conservation mode, I would have thought.
Yeah, it's conservation mode, of course, just limiting the use of saving your battery and not using as much as you should be. But yes, we should report that we are getting, as we have mentioned, close to the first round of pit stops. So you never know who could be coming in at this stage. It doesn't look like anyone's bidding to go in next. Maybe the next few laps or so it should be. Oh wait, yeah, they're on hards, so it might be a little longer. I do apologise. I keep thinking they're all on mediums for some reason, and but you know, I mean, yes, it looks like that there is no notable battles happening. Except for 13th place, which doesn't get you anything.
There we saw Sia pull off a move on Jerry for 13th place, and he is through no problem. He's got a long way to go to get back into the points. Is Sieb. Now, in terms of his previous record in Jeddah, he failed to finish in the F6 race in season 31, so he'll be looking for redemption here tonight. He's already picked up a win this season, which is his first one in the PSGL. He won in Singapore, and he's hoping to move his way up the order very, very soon. Leon ahead of him has got a time penalty, so as it stands, Sieb would move into 12th position. And Hallett continues on. He's now 4 seconds ahead of Giovanni, so even if he had a track limits penalty, it wouldn't change the situation.
Oh, Pelota nearly loses it through turn 24. What a save from the driver who's trying to clean his name from controversy, as he nearly loses it in turn 23 and still in 5th place. But Coleman is chasing after and trying to capitalise on his mistake, and Chris Hallett is just breaking new ground here. Chris Hallett cannot be stopped as we have a pass between the two Red Bulls. Alex de G goes ahead of Giovanno and into 2nd place overall.
Good overtake from Alex. Giovanni did not fight it on this occasion. He knows that Alex has been quicker than he has been over the last few laps, and so Alex has been let go, and he'll be going after the race leader as Giovanni tries to keep himself within range really and stay with him so that he's not leaving himself exposed to an overtake from the likes of Edrix and El Pelota, who are fighting for a position of their own, even though they are within the same DRS train as Alex and Giovanni are. Coleman is in 6th, and it's Kyle who's holding up another DRS train over Yanetsky, Chono and Boya Lulu. I don't know how soon we'll see Likidze come into the pits, but I imagine he'll want to try and complete an undercut on some of the drivers at some point within the next few laps. Giovanni then in P3, Edrix ahead of El Pelota. Coleman keeping himself range. No one really daring to go for an overtake at the moment. They're probably just waiting for the pit stops to arrive.
Indeed, and that will probably be a couple more laps, considering these hard tyres are going to go quite a long way. So we still have Giovanni and Alex G battling. That means actually Chris Hallett extends his lead to 5 seconds. 5 seconds, and we're not even halfway through, as we have someone volunteering to be the guinea pig and take the pits, and it is Boya Lulu coming in to the Aston Martin pit lane. Of course, each team gets their own pits, there's not 2 separate ones, so here we go. And off come the mediums, and well, off come the hards, sorry. It just changes to mediums for some reason. And into mediums. As Lakitu has also come in, and he is now on hard tyres. So he's coming much earlier than Boyolulu because they are on alternate strategies. And Boyolulu is going to be finishing the race on older tyres than Lakitu started on. He did 11 laps, and Boyolulu will have to do 14 laps unless there is a safety car twist late in the race.
Indeed, Hallett is continuing on his way, doesn't need to worry about drivers performing an undercut on him. He can probably afford to stay out for a couple more laps than his rivals and still keep hold of the lead, but he'll want to try and stay out of that DRS territory. Alex in second place, Giovanni not sitting comfortably behind because he'll feel that Alex is holding him up and Hallett is continuing to pull away. Continuing to fight at the moment. Alex is going defensive, but what is Giovanni going to decide to do here? Is he going to sit him behind, or is he going to try for an overtake, or could we see a pit stop? Well, I can tell you, it's the latter. So Giovanni decides that now is the time to go for an undercut. Coleman also in, Kyle and Yanetsky are also in, Leon doing the same. So it's, and it's a new front wing going on for Giovanni, so that could explain his recent pace.
Yeah, I think that's why he's lost position, and this is the bitter blow to Giovanni's race. If that is the case, he'll need a bit of luck. He's going to get anywhere near Alex the G, because of course Alex the G, he's not going to be coming in for a wing change, as he is going to do the overcut, or well, have forced overcut on Giovanni when he comes in next. Kyle Sarah and Yanetsky, since they're pitting got their battle back on, this time for 9th place. Won't be long though until they come through, and guess who's joining the fun? Boyolulu has come in for the battle for 9th place as well.
Yeah, and he's on warmer tyres than the Haas, so he needs to make the most of that opportunity and get through. He might do it into turn 13 if he dares, but he decides not to. It's probably not the best place to do it at this moment in time, as he looks to stay within range. There is Carl Serra ahead, hence the Haas getting the DRS potentially as we speak. Boiler just needs to get a really strong exit coming out of 17 to gain the momentum to pull alongside and have a go as they go through the kinks, and he'll be thinking very much about how he'll go about with the overtake. Will he do it into the last turn, or will he do it into turn 1? We shall see. As race leader Chris Hallett comes in.
He comes in. Also in is Edrix and Alex the G and Chernal 2, which means El Pelota takes the lead. He's been pitting a bit later. Sieb comes in. Joey stays out. Interesting choice. Coleman is staying out, but who will pit out of this lot in 9th? None of them. That's because they've already pit. But where are they going to come out? Where is Chris Hallett going to come out? He's coming out in 3rd. Alex the G coming out in 4th. Edrix in 5th. And Coleman in 6th. So this is the battle now. This battle between these 5 cars actually is for 7th place as we speak, but might be 5th later because, of course, El Pelota and Joey are yet to pit.
I'd imagine El Pelota and Joey will be going all the way and maybe go onto a set of soft tyres, perhaps, to go for a fast stop and maybe try and get some overtakes done. You'd have thought maybe. Joey hasn't got anything to lose now because of that penalty he's got hanging over him. He's got 3 seconds, so he's got to try something different here and maybe hope for a safety car.
Oh yeah, that's one way to win. It has happened before, as the driver with number 69 on his nose, I know, crazy, is currently 9 seconds behind El Pelota, currently in 2nd place. As we come to El Pelota, I'm just got a hawk eye on him, seeing if he is going to come in or not. Looks like he is aiming to the left, and yes, he is coming in, and I think Joy should be too. This will be for medium tyres, and El Pelota is spending the pit lane. That's not what you want to do. Wait, did he speed before we get into the pit lane? Joey is opted to stay out, and Chris Hallett is right behind him, so this could be quite interesting. Is Joey... Don't tell me he's going to hold up the drivers indirectly to keep this race interesting. Now, we're not them trying to prophesize anything, but it would be crazy if he did. As El Pelota and Kyle Sarrett... El Pelota comes out ahead of Kyle Sarrett and has a 5-second penalty as well, so just take there for a pinch of salt as Chris Hallett is just about to approach Joey, Tom.
Yes, and he'll pull off an overtake, I would have thought, very shortly. So Joey won't want to waste too much time in battling with Hallett. He does not need to be fighting with him, to be honest with you, because that's not his race. If he lets him go and stay within DRS range, he can pull away from Alex a little bit so that he's not having to hassle with him before he needs to come in for a pit stop.
Here we go, this should be the move now, and he comes through side by side, and Hallett has made the move and back into the lead proper. And Joey will just have to pit in a minute, and he completely struggles through the turn, so yeah, that may be a sign he will have to pit now, as they look dead, those tyres. They look really dead. Further back, we've got quite the battle between El Piloto, Kyle Sauer, and Yanetsky. Giovanni as well. This is for 6th place. We have a 4-way, and Kyle Sauer gets into 6th place, and Yanetsky wants a piece of the action too. Meanwhile, up further, we've got a 3-way battle for a podium spot here, Tom. Alex, Edrix, and Coleman. It's starting to really open up now. Who says one-stop strategy races can't be interesting? They are right now. Edrix into 3rd place. Alex the G into 4th. Coleman in 5th right now. As the battle behind them gets to hot up even more. As we've got Giovanni and Yanetsky fighting for 8th place.
So Kyle has got past and El Piloto. Yanetsky holding up Giovanni now as El Piloto makes a mistake through turn number 9, I think it was, as they all filter through the remaining corners of the very tricky first sector. And now they're going through the fast left-hander of turn 13. Just looking to see whether they'll see any more overtakes on this lap. 10 laps to go, including the one that the race leader is on. Joey is staying out. He's out of that DRS range, so he'll need to think carefully when he's going to come in for his change of tyres. He was outside the points before the pit stops had begun, so he's got nothing to lose. So I'd imagine he'll probably go for a set of softs, or he'll stay out there for as long as possible, just in case there is a safety car.
Just in case. Keyword just in case. And Coleman is right behind Alex the G as I speak. He goes on a dive bomb into 4th place. Alex the G gonna fight this one back, and he stays side by side with him as they head down now towards turn number 1 once again. The finish line as well. Looks like Alex the G is going to stay ahead for now. Is VIR Coleman gonna repeat his move into turn number 1? No, he's not. And Alex the G somehow holds onto the position as the battles are starting to really heat up now. No DRS trains, just full-on fights.
Yeah, very much so, and Alex doing very well to keep hold of his 4th position. Edrix got ahead of him not too long ago, but Alex is still within range to try and get him back. But every time you start battling with another driver, you do lose ground to the car ahead and those behind who will close in more. So you've got to be very, very clever. You've got to be very tactical as of when you decide to go for an overtake. I just want to quickly see who has got how much. Oh, and we've got a spin.
Yanetsky spun.
He has, and he's fallen out of the points.
Made a mistake. Yeah, and that's not really good for him. He was in that battle for, I think it was 6th, and he's made a mistake, a crucial error, and that means this battle's now a 3-car race, and Sieb has spun out of, looks like, turn 15, I believe. Turn 16, I may be wrong. I do apologise if I am. Meanwhile, Joey, still not pit yet.
No, and I think he'll stay out there for another lap because Edrix behind is not quite within DRS range to open the DRS, so I think Joey will stay out there for another lap.
He probably will. The gap now 6 seconds between them. Chris Hallett is just running away at this point. As there's a battle for 3rd, that's not going to be Alex G getting into 3rd yet. Looks like he did go for a move, but it didn't turn out as he wanted it to. And as a result, remains in 4th. Giovanni still chasing down Apollodo and can't seem to get any ground on him.
Nope. El Plota sitting behind Kyle for now. Not thinking too much about an overtake, but he needs to think about when he's going to do it because he has got that 3 second time. Oh, 5 seconds I think it is, isn't it? For speeding in the pit lane. So that's even worse for El Plota. So as it stands, he will drop down 3 positions, maybe even 4 actually, because Janetsky doesn't have a penalty to his name. But El Plata very much having to fight to even get a point out of this, never mind picking up 3 or 4. So he's going to have to hope for a lot of luck to go his way between now and the end of this race. This one has gone very quick. You'd expect so, with it being Jeddah. It's the fastest street circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. Chris Hellett on course for his 5th win in 6 races and his 10th overall in the PSGL. As El Plata's got in front of Kyle, there's a spin at the back. That is Miguel, who's at the back anyway, and he's had a day to forget. No, he'll want this race to be over as quickly as possible. Giovanno's down in 8th position. He would move up a couple of positions as it stands because of penalties involving other drivers.
Here we go!
Yeah, can he pull off an overtake? He goes for the move on Kyle, and El Plata makes contact with the McLaren, and Giovanno has spun. He's spun, and he's fallen behind Boyalulu.
Yeah, and Joey has also lost a lot of positions after a mistake out of turn 2, and he's coming close to Coleman with inferior tyres. Is this a smart move? That's only hurt Coleman's chances of getting a podium because he has been unable to pass Alex de G and has probably put off by Joey, who nearly lost it out of turn 2. And now this has to be a sign Joey has to pit. Joey is really struggling on these tyres.
Yeah, and I know he'll probably stay within the DRS range, but he's going to lose a lot of time through the corners, and every lap he's just battling. He's going to lose even more. He'll get the DRS on this straight, so he'll keep himself in front of El Plata for now. As Miguel comes in, I would imagine that he'll either go for the fast lap or he's going to call it a day. What is he going to decide to do? He'll probably go for the fastest lap, so fair play to him. Oh, and he's put El Plata in the wall! That is dangerous driving from Joey. Poor awareness that from the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to pit now. I think he's lost a bit of his wing. And El Plata is furious. He's got no wing. He's got no wing, and he's going to have to pit. Joey is going to be under investigation once again. A driver that does not shy away from controversy as he comes into the pits, and all the drivers behind him are going to be jousting at each other as they come down the track. It is Giovanno and Boyalulu heading the field, and Leon and Cherno coming through, as well as the 2 drivers nearly lose it there, but they get it on, and it looks like they're still fighting out of the car, and it's Giovanno and Lulu.
Oh, contact!
Oh dear. Boyalulu's lost it, and we have a spinner, and now all the cars behind him they are absolutely going full throttle, and Leon's went too far. He's got a penalty, and Janetsky and Cherno are still dueling. This used to be a DRS zone in F1 2021, and then they realised, oops, we made an oopsie, and they moved it to the correct space, but not anymore. You just have to depend on your throttle. And yeah, Boyalulu and Leon, they got Giovanno, and Boyalulu, they got too close for comfort, and unfortunately, one of them paid the price. And now down in 10th, and does he have damage? No, he does not. I think he's just got away with it, Tom.
Yeah, Boyalulu will be absolutely furious with Giovanni there. Giovanni may feel that he should have been left more room, but that was a very, very ambitious place to pull off an overtake. So it's pretty much 6 in one and half a dozen for the other. But if I was to put the blame on either of them, it would probably have to be Giovanni. He's currently running in 6th place, could be 7th in the moment because Leon is right on his tail. Can Leon get another good points haul out of this race after what's been a very tricky season for him? But the last few races he's been involved with have been more positive, and he's about to pull off an overtake on the Red Bull driver. Miguel has retired from the race. It's a lap down anyway, so he wasn't going to get anything out of this. 5 laps to go. Giovanni down to 7th, and I would imagine he'll be under investigation for the contact with Boyalulu.
And so will Joey for his contact with El Plata. He's down in 13th now as a result. And this has just not been a day to remember. I mean, this has been a season to forget for Joey. He tries to come back onto the big stage, but I think he has failed to score in this entire season. You don't want to be... It's quite rare for drivers that fail to score in every race they compete in. Surely there's a chance for points at some races, considering the variance involved in some of these competitions. But yes, it is quite a tough grind, this sport, and you really need to be dedicated to it if you want to be a winner. And speaking of winners, the leader is 8 seconds ahead. It's kind of like what we were watching yesterday, Tom, in Miami. That certain thing that happened. You know what it is. Coleman going for the podium positions. Edrex, and he's going to go for a dive, is he? He's going to go for the move. He's going to go for the in the hairpin. A late move. And he's side by side with him now. And he's going to get the DRS again. They're still fighting for this podium position. Edrex moves to the left, to the wall. And Coleman to the right, into the inside. Edrex will have the inside into the first turn. And Joey has retired from the race. Off the track, which means...
Safety car.
Safety car. Oh no! Chris Hallett cannot believe it. Chris Hallett is going to have a 10-second lead right clean off the board. This is disaster, and he probably has to pit.
Yeah, I think if you're Chris Hallett, what do you do? I think you're going to have to pit, because the drivers will have to... He built up the lead he has, might pay dividends for Chris Hallett, so it's not all doom and gloom yet, but if he pits, what will Alex decide to do? This is a game of chess now, isn't it?
Oh no! Will he get there in time? I think the Delta. He's got to stay within the Delta, doesn't he? They don't have to line up yet. They're going to have 2 laps of racing. I think it's usually almost always 2 laps. I'm sure there's a way, like a tactical way in the usually single player mode. It never happens on online, where you can trick the safety car and finish the race on the safety car. You can't do that in this, obviously. But it's not finishing, and it could have been worse. They could have red flagged it, which we are, spoiler alert, getting an F123. So stay tuned for that. Honestly, I'm not a fan of them. But here we go. Chris Hallett, what's he going to do? What's he going to do?
He's staying out.
He's staying out. Oh no. What are the others going to do? They know they're going to line out behind, and they're coming in. No, they're not. They're not coming in.
I'm shocked.
They know they're going to risk their position. Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that they've not done it. Well, I'll tell you who is coming in. You've got Leon who's coming in, providing he doesn't speed. Yanetsky as well. Boyalulu is coming in. Lakitu, those at the back, they don't have anything to lose, so they may as well throw the dice and go for it. Sia will most certainly be coming in. This is played into El Pilota's hands, so he can go onto the soft compound as well. So he's got another opportunity to grab something out of this race, despite his calamities with Joey earlier. But he's not coming in either. I'm actually.
Oh God!
I think it's because he's only come in for the mediums. I mean, the soft tyres are only able to do a few laps, but we've only got 3 laps to go in this race with 2 laps of green flag racing. So I'm actually surprised that El Plater. Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Hallett has caught up to the safety car now as they exit out of turn 13, and the saving grace for him is that Alex Edrex, Coleman, Kyle, Giovanno, and Cherno have not pitted under the safety car. That's going to give... that's going to give Chris the buffer now in the final 2 laps.
I think they just didn't want to give up position just in case someone behind them opts to stay out too. I think they just didn't want to give up position because, you know, they could be playing super defensive with their tyres to stop them from getting past. And to be honest, in a track like Jeddah, it's quite hard to overtake. In the curbs, of course, and considering that there are walls everywhere, there's no runoffs. And safety car coming in this lap, so predictably. So Chris Hallett needs to get away with his life. I mean, he's won the championship, but what a way it would be to win at this race, which is going to end with 2 laps of green flag racing after he had a 9-second lead. But here we go, and Yanetsky, Cherno and Giovanno. Cherno's got a penalty for collision with Giovanno, but anyway... Back to the front, Chris Hallett will be leading the field to 2 laps of green flag racing left here at Jeddah. And here he comes. When is he going to go, Tom?
He's going to wait for it. He's going to wait for it. The whole field all together. And he's gone now. And what a restart. Perfect. Absolutely inch perfect from Chris Hallett. He's left the field for dead.
Continues to warm tyres though.
Yeah, and we're watching Alex hold off Edrix further behind. We've got Coleman ahead of Kyle. It's Giovanno and safe. Leon has got ahead of Cherno now. Can Leon salvage a points finish out of this? He's the highest of those that have just pitted for the soft compound. So that explains why Cherno has let his teammate go. Leon needs to pass everyone really to maximise the best result possible out of this race now.
Yeah, and Chris Hallett now is trying to lead by 7 tenths, and it looks like once again he's going to take victory unless something insane happens at these last few laps. Leon making a move on the outside of Giovanni, and that is a fantastic move. Oh yeah, sure, he had the tyre advantage, but he had to pull off the move as well, as now he's going to go for fifth of Kyle Sarrett. This is a dangerous part of the track to be making overtakes. He just grazes the wall, and now he's going to have a massive move as Coolman has snapped. Coolman has snapped out of the corner, and this is fantastic for Leon. But remember, he has a penalty. He has a 6-second penalty, so it might not be worth anything if he can't get up in a quick time. And we've got a car off there. Lakitus went off the track and lost 2 positions. And now Chris Hallett still leads ahead of Alex G and Edrix as Leon's trying to salvage cars. There are battles happening everywhere, Tom.
Yeah, and you can see Boyalula up the inside of Cherno as they go into turn 27. Contact over to the adversary of Kyle and the Red Bull of Givano. That's another collision. I think that's 61 and half a dozen for the other, but that's bad news for the pair of them. Kyle out of the points, Givano under investigation, most certainly, and he's got damage to his front wing as well.
And he's fighting with Cherno and Janetsky. Very controversial move. He's getting sucked by everyone. And he's been off the track with El Piloto. As they come through, El Piloto nearly gets hit by the stricken Giovanni. And now down to 11th from starting in pretty much the top of the table. And Janetsky's went off. Janetsky has crashed. And now Leon is up to 4th. This is actually pretty good news for him. Unless they somehow stay close. Sieb gets ahead of Giovanni, who is absolutely struggling. Chris Hallett, despite the scare, looks like he might get away with this.
Yep, and he's over a second clear. There's no DRS, of course, because we've only completed 2 laps of the restart. Leon trying to get ahead of Edrix. He won't finish on the podium, but where will he end up in the final results? That's the question at the moment. I think he's only going to lose 1 position, because Boyalulu behind, he's just getting past Coleman, and Boyalulu does not have a penalty. We'll go back to the leader though, as Chris Hallett is about to take the check flag. Leon gets ahead of Edrix, but he will not keep on the podium. Chris Hallett, for the 5th time in 6 races, wins in the PSGL in F5. He wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, his 10th career victory in the PSGL. Alex, hurrah, hurrah, on the podium in 2nd place, his best results of the season. Fantastic. And Edrix on the podium for the first time this season as well.